who is a transformational coach. Thank you very much for making time for us today. You woke up at what time again? By 5 a.m. you're on the road. We appreciate that. We really, really appreciate your time. And then we also have Salome Nyagude, who is a businesswoman. Thank you very much for coming by today. And we also have Julia Kinuthia, who is a family therapist. Julia Wanjiru, I know her as Julia Wanjiru. Julia Wanjiru Kinuthia, who is a family therapist as well. Thank you very much, Julia, for coming as well today. And we'll also be expecting Jeff Ndindi, who is the founder that is Present Fatherhood, who will be joining us in just a moment. So for those of you who are watching and thinking, Icon is just a woman affair. No, even the men are affected. And of course, Jeff will be sharing his story as well. So you do not want to miss any part of this conversation. But Julia, let me start with you. You know, when we say toxic relationship, right? Like love is such a beautiful thing. And I want to believe like all relationships, almost all relationships starts from a point of love, right? And then maybe somewhere along the line, something happens and then toxicity happens, right? So what do we mean when we say a toxic relationship?
When you are in a toxic relationship, is when you are in a relationship with a person. It doesn't have necessarily to be love relationship. It could be work, it could be business.
True.
But you are with a person whereby you feel not helped to become what you wanted to become. Like if you were doing business with you, am I feeling helped with you to do business with you? If we are in a love relationship, do I feel helped? Do I feel happy? Do I have joy when I'm with you? These are some of the things that you are supposed to look at and ask yourself, when you are with that person, how do you feel? Is it fear? Do you have peace with that person? After leaving that person, what do you feel? When you have not gone to see that person, what do you feel guilty about yourself? That is some of these things, negative things. If you, after meeting you, I feel more negatives than positives, then that's a toxic person.
Okay.
And then you see, we started good. We start with the love because we think this is what we are going to get from this person.
True.
Unfortunately, toxic people, they have their full baggage with them. They have, you remember when you meet those old ladies going to the market and they have carried this big baggage and they know where they are parking, they'll meet a young person on the road and they will tell them, oh, we need
let me help you.
Help me carry this.
Yes.
So toxic people are looking for people who can help them carry their baggages. Unfortunately, they will not tell you when you meet them that I have this baggage, I want you to assist me.
To help me.
Actually, they refuse, they have problems.
Okay.
And then they know how to act out. They are very good. They act out.
They can pretend to be like the nicest people you've ever met.
So when you are left with them alone, that's when now you start seeing the signs slowly by slowly. And then they know how to do it. Because they kind of peel you like an onion. They start peeling you slowly by slowly by slowly. At some point, you'll find yourself in a place, in a deep hole, where you don't know how to come out. And that's why you hear people always talking about, like, kwa nini haestoka? You know, why is she not coming out? Why is he not coming out of that relationship? You see, you have been taken on a journey slowly by slowly. So you've really gone so far that going back is very scary.
Yes.
And that's why you find most people are not able to come out of those relationships. Because it doesn't just happen like, bah! You know, I meet you and I know, oh, you are toxic.
You're toxic.
Yes, unless I have an experience with toxic people, then I'll be able to identify toxic people.
Yeah.
But for people who have not been there, it's very hard for them to identify at once.
That someone is toxic just by the look of things. You know, just looking at them firsthand, you might not really be able to tell if this person is toxic or not. And you also said something that sometimes toxic people don't know that they're toxic in the first place. Yeah. Right?
Some don't know.
Some don't know. But there are some who know completely that they are toxic and they need someone to help them. And actually, even what
they are doing, they know they are intimidating you in order for you to help them.
Yeah.
Because life is about them. Toxic people, life is about, there's nobody else except them. Yeah. So you appear there as a picture. You are just there to help them live. So you have no life. Yeah. So whenever something happens, they take you to guilt trip you. And every time they do something wrong, they turn the tables and you become, you are the one who made the mistake. Even when they have made the mistake and they can see it as black and white, they are the ones who are on the wrong side. But they turn the tables and they make you feel guilty.
That you're the one
you see, you made me hit you. ati ni wewe uliongea vibaya sana
nikakuchapa.
Exactly.
Are we? Okay, manipulative. They can be manipulative.
Very.
Okay,
Very.
all right. Salome, let's talk to you. You were married for a long time, if we can say that. And what you told me is it all started out really, really well. Really, really good. Everything was good until you got a child, right? Take us back there. What happened?
Okay. It's very true. I started very well, with a lot of love, and everything was just good. And I felt that was just the best thing in the whole world.
Yeah. It's the best feeling to fall in love.
It was.
It is the most beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with time, things changed.
Okay.
Not for the worse, but it was gradual, right? It was gradual, because I would just feel, okay, I'm intimidated in a way, but I don't feel like leaving. I still love this guy so much.
Yeah.
He makes mistakes, and I just ignore everything until it came to a point that I felt, now, I think I need to go back to my parents.
Okay.
And at some point, I went back.
All right. This is after your first child or before the children came?
No, after my first child.
All right.
My first child was like 2 years.
Okay.
Then, yeah. And when I went back to my parents, my dad was a pastor. And he was this kind of people who would not stomach divorce or even separation.
Yeah. Marriage ni kuvumilia.
Ni
Nyumba ni
kuvumilia.
kuvumilia.
You made that decision yourself.
Yes.
So deal with it. And so he told me, just, we'll talk, but you'll have to go back.
Okay.
And so I had to go back. After going back, things will change for like three months or so, and then it will still go back to ile tu.
Yeah.
Hapa kuna shida, and it has been a long journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you said he would intimidate. You felt intimidated at first, but then you were like, it's okay, I can stomach this for a while. So what exactly happened? Because you said for your case it was very gradual. You know, it's more or less like you couldn't even tell that this was toxicity. You know, so what exactly happened that you would say, you know what, this is not normal. This is somewhat like intimidation. What happened?
Okay, you see, like, you're together, you discuss something, and you agree. But then he'll go. When he comes back, he has changed.
Okay.
And you're like, we didn't say this.
Agreed.
What happened?
Yeah.
And then he'll tell me, I'm the one to tell you, you shouldn't talk. Excuse me.
Okay.
And you keep quiet because you've been taught to humble yourself and just be a good wife. Yeah. This good wife, my friend. And I didn't know there was anything like
Toxicity at that
toxicity,
time.
Yeah? So I was like, no, I think I made the wrong decision. But again, I feel deep inside me, I still love him. And I don't want to question my parents. I just want to persevere with hope that he'll change. Instead of changing, things will get worse.
It became worse. All right. And Kellen, for you, you also started your organization based on what you went through as well. You had an experience as well. Take us through what happened.
Well, like my friend here, I was married for a long time, 22 years.
Oh, wow.
And it was a toxic marriage. Of course, from the onset, I didn't know it was toxic. I kept thinking maybe there's something I need to do different, or there's something I haven't done, or, you know, and listening to what the society expects of us in a marriage and what I was told by my friends and family, you know, that I need to, you know, hold on and be strong. And so I kept going and going and going, but I kept thinking, no, I'm not happy. And over time, for 22 years, I became just a shell of myself. And I was a very broken human being. And at some point I felt, no, this is not what this marriage is about. There must be something that is wrong with this marriage. And for me, I got to discover that it was toxic, or what you better call abusive, when I sought for help. Because I had been in and out of depression for, over the years. I had experienced very horrible stuff like panic attacks, which are very scary. It's a very scary experience.
It is.
And I knew I couldn't go on like this. And so after going in and out of depression, I remember the last time I went into another deeper depression, and I felt if I continue like this, I'll die. Yeah. And so I decided to get help. And I went to my church because I was leading in some home group fellowship then. And I decided to approach one of the leaders then, because, in church you're accountable to somebody. So I went and had a meeting with them, and she invited one other lady who was also leading in another area that I was serving in church. And I told them my story. And I remember I was so broken. And, they were like, really? Then that's when they told me, no, you need help. Yeah. And that coming from a pastor and from church was like, whoa, finally somebody thinks there's a problem, Yeah. And then the other lady next said, you actually need help. Yeah. And I said, what kind of help? She said, you need legal help. I said, I don't even know where to start in terms of legal, because when you're in a toxic relationship, you're isolated, you're suppressed and oppressed, and you're left without money. These guys make you make sure you're not working, so you have no finances. You're really at their beck and call. Yeah. So at that time, I didn't have money. So at the mention of a lawyer, I was like, I can't. That one, no, don't even go there. Yeah. Then she said, no, don't worry. I'll take you to an organization that actually deals with this. That's their core business. And you're going to get the help without having to give a sweat. Yeah. And that's when I was introduced to this organization. I think I can mention here, FIDA Kenya. And when I went there, they do assessment of your case as you tell them what your story is. And broken as I was, I remember amidst a lot of tears, the lady who met me or who assessed me asked me, so what do you want? I said, I want divorce. Okay. And she looked at me and she said, you know what, Kellen, from the way I look at you and the way you look, you cannot go into a court of law right now. You're so broken. Yeah. We need to begin by finding Kellen. Kellen is so lost, she's in the woods. So I said, okay, whatever, I need to get myself back. And I got into this counseling, psychology, and it took me about 1.5 years. Yeah. And I started feeling good about myself, and I started finding myself, and I started now learning how to set boundaries, because I remember what this lady told me, I want to help you be able to survive within that geographical area, because I was still in the marriage. Okay. And I gained a lot of strength, and I was able to set boundaries while I was still there, and I was able to go ahead and file for divorce. All right. And then the divorce went on, and it didn't take a long time. And for me, out of that experience is when I decided I need to go out there and help somebody else who doesn't know what they're going through, because I didn't know what I was going through. When I went through the counseling sessions is when I learned that it had a label, that it is called emotional abuse, because there are different kinds of abuse. Yeah. And mine was purely emotional. There was no time I had been, beaten. Yeah. Mine was purely emotional, which is terrible. Because you die from the inside. Absolutely. Now, when you say it all started well, you didn't know, and you're married for 22 years. Yes. I just want to understand, like, how, and I love the fact that you just made it clear that, listen, there was no any form of abuse, but it was mostly emotional, right? So when did it start? Is it earlier on when you guys got married, or was it, years probably after you got married that the emotional abuse started? Now from where I sit and looking at the gradual growth of this thing, there are things we call red flags. And to be honest, I saw them. during the dating.
When you were dating.
But you know, you're thinking, you know, you give an excuse and you're thinking, okay, maybe he's in a bad mood and he'll be okay.
We do that all the time.
We give excuses all the time. So I kept
maybe he had
thinking,
a bad day.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I kept thinking, okay, maybe he had a bad day, you know, or, you know, something is wrong and he'll be better tomorrow. And we'd go on a little bit, and then after a short while, something else happens, and I'm like, okay. Then I give an excuse again. And it went on and on and on. So to answer you, I did see the red flags. And many times, the victims do see the red flags, but they ignore them. Because remember, again, even the society keeps telling you, you know, you have to be strong, you know, you have to be the Proverbs 31 woman, and you keep going and you keep going. And, and I remember for me particularly, I always used to be told by, you know, when I was able to open up to friends, and you tell me, you're so strong. Those words of being told I'm strong made me want to take in more.
Yes.
You know, and
just
that was really destructive. Yes, just to prove that I'm strong, because I'm being told I'm strong. Ideally, yes, but I shouldn't have allowed myself to continue taking in more and more and more, because now it was destroying me. And at the end of it all, at the time I was hitting 22 years in that marriage, I was lost. Completely broken. Totally lost. And had it not been for that therapy that I went through, I believe I would have been totally depressed. You know, I could have even killed myself, because victims also become very suicidal. And I did become suicidal. So to be honest, I didn't know which method I was going to use to kill myself. For me, being a Christian, I used to pray and say, God, when I go to sleep, let me not wake up. It's a very strange thing to say. But victims do become suicidal. And out of this, I became very passionate about what I do. And I decided I'm going to help somebody out there who doesn't know what they're going through.
And Julia, I mean, there's so many things, you know, that we can pick from Salome and Kellen's story. Number one is, I did not know. I did not know that I was in a toxic relationship. I did not know that this was toxic. Yes, there are red flags, but I mean, people have bad days, or sometimes we're told, but no one is perfect, and we're just okay with that, you know. So, what does toxic relationship look like? What are some of the characteristics that a toxic person has that we should be on the lookout for?
Actually, it starts very early, and it starts in the relationship. It doesn't start in marriage. It starts early. We always, all the time, see those red flags. We see them. But you see, there's a thin line between possessiveness and love. Usually, most girls will tell you, oh, he loves me. He wants all the time, he wants us to be together. He doesn't want me to say hi to other
anyone
people.
else.
And it cuts across, even to men.
We feel protected when someone
even
says
men,
that.
They will think, oh, this girl loves me so much. She's always on my case. You see, like, you say hi to someone, and the girl is like, hey, who is that? Why are you saying hi? You mistake that to love. Because we are thinking, oh, she loves me so much. So much, She doesn't want me to say hi to.
They just want me all by themselves.
All by themselves. And then they start, if you want to know that a person is toxic, you look at this person who is attacking you as a person. You see, instead of attacking the issues, the things that are going around, they start attacking you as a person. They're like, you dress up in, somehow they'll be like, they start belittling you. Wewe unavaa aje? Unakaa aje?
Unataka kuonyesha nini watu?
Unataka kuonyesha watu nini? You see, you know that I love you. Wacha kuvaa hivyo, you know. So they start attacking you as a person. That's how they bring you down slowly by slowly. You start seeing these things very early. But then nobody told you. In most cases, it's because we never had this knowledge. If you talk to elderly women, if you talk to people like us, we can tell you. But young girls, even now, they will mistake that possessiveness
for love.
For love. Because they will be like, but he loves me. He loves me. But I have everything that I want. If I tell him to take me out, he'll take me. If I tell him I'm going home, he'll go with me. You see those people who never allow you to have your time alone. At anything that you do, you must do with them. If it's the wife, the husband is going somewhere, the wife insists, we must go with you. You never have your time. And then you find at some point, you've given yourself, you've given everything that you are to this other person. And you are not getting it on return. So it's you giving,
or it should be
giving.
Reciprocal. Like this should be some form of reciprocation.
And this is a discussion that people should know. It's not about women. You know, people watching us there might be thinking, because they see three women here
yes.
and one gentleman, they might be thinking it is men who are toxic. We have women who are toxic.
Very toxic as well.
That even men don't want to go back home, because you just want to go when everyone is asleep, and you tiptoe
to the bed.
to bed and go and sleep.
Yeah.
Because this person makes you feel you have no joy, you have no peace. Anything that you do is, to them, it doesn't look good. Anything that you try to tell them, you have an idea. You come and talk to this person, tell them, I have this idea, can we do this? Your ideas are nothing. These people, what they do to you, if I give you like a demonstration, is like you come to them like a balloon. You are full. And then what they do, because they know what they are doing. You are in a factory, you are being processed. They know what they want, the product that there is at the end. So they come with a needle. So they keep on with a hole to the balloon.
Yeah.
So they keep on injuring you until they make sure you have no air. So you are left like a shell. Nothing. You don't trust yourself, because anything you have said, you've been told, watu wengine sasa washafanya hivyo wakafail. That's not a good idea. They build it to you in front of people.
Everyone.
So the moment you realize that this person might start attacking me when there are people, come on, wife and the husband knows, we do something here and we have visitors. This way, my wife, you grow up and things will be higher. So you just decide to just so after some time, you find you have no confidence. And they know. These people, they are cunning, they know what they want. That does not say that they don't know. Okay, they may not know what is affecting them, but they know what they want.
What exactly, or what they're doing.
They know what they want.
What they're doing.
Yes, they want something that is just a puppet. So if, whenever they say, this is what I want, you'll do it.
You make sure that you do it, otherwise you'll face, Okay, let's bring in Jeff. And Jeff, thank you very much for making it to the studio. Jeff Ndindi, who's a founder, Present Fatherhood. I love that. Let's just first of all understand toxicity from a man's perspective, because like Julia rightly said, it's not only the women who go through toxic relationships, even the men face it, and of course you also went through the same. But before we get to hear your story, let's first of all understand from a man's perspective, what does toxicity look like?
Well, thank you, and sorry for being late.
It's all right, you made it.
From a man's perspective, it is even worse, because one thing is that men, we know very well that they don't express themselves.
True.
For women, they will be probably they will be probably in that environment, but they will find many avenues to let it out and vent and be like, oh, this happened. But for men, many a times they bottle it up. So you see a man walking, he's upright, he's looking very nice, but deep inside, this guy is going through issues. And many times they don't even know how to express it, because they feel like they're supposed to be the people who are powerful, but yet there's somebody else who is dominating them, you know. And that makes them fear to even express. And this bottles up, and this is a person that eventually bursts and does something that is very tragic. So that is the ticking time bomb for men. For women, you will definitely know that this woman is probably going through a toxic relationship, very clearly. But for men, you will hardly know. Okay, you will hardly know. Of course, the signs could be there for sometimes, but you might not be able to identify them from the word go. Actually, people will interpret it as somebody who is probably going just through life's pressures. You know, you might not really interpret it as somebody who is in a toxic relationship.
Okay. Now, so for you, what really happened? Because, like I said, you are the man. There's a way the society, has put the man where you're the powerful one, you're the head of the home, you are this, you are that, right? So there's a lot of pressure put on the man that sometimes, even if something is going on, you cannot say it because you're not man enough to handle your issues in your home. So for you, what exactly happened?
So, for me, I was in a relationship at some time that the woman wasn't very... what I would describe is that there were over expectations. You know, to me, I felt like there were over expectations. You know, that brings unwanted pressures. You know, so you would find that they had a long list of the things that they expected you to be, how they expected you to behave.
To behave.
You know, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do, and they're always starting with, the sentence were always starting with a man. You know?
A man should be able to
Yeah,
provide.
a man should be able to do this. A man should be
to...
able to do this. A man should be able to do this.
Yeah.
I need to be done for this. I need to be done. They were long list of items.
Yeah.
And slowly by slowly you feel, of course the society has also molded things in that way, making it very easy for a man to be in a toxic relationship without even realizing it. Because once you are being listed lists of a man is supposed to be behaving this way, a man, and you are not being able to meet those,
needs, yes.
or rather you will be struggling a lot to meet those expectations.
Of all the lists, how many did you check out? Because you said it was a very long list.
Yes.
How many of the things were in that list that you more or less checked out?
The things that were in that list were actually many, and out of them, many of them were actually very outrageous. You know that you know, somebody, you are somebody that is freshly out of probably out of school, and somebody is expecting you to do a variety of things for them. You know, things that, to me, I felt like you're supposed to be doing for them for yourselves first. You know, before you expect them from me
to do for you.
From me.
Yeah.
But she had this fixed mind where, you know, you are the one who is supposed to do them. Whether I have, for example, if it is finances, whether I have my finances or not, there are things that you're supposed to take care of. Come rain, come sunshine. I have my 1,000 bob or 20,000 bob, but that is my money. Not supposed to do anything.
The phrase "mine is mine" and yours is ours.
Yes, it's misused many times.
Okay.
To coil people and to put people in a prison.
All right. You know what? How about we take a break and just give us time to just reflect on that? Because I like what you said, that this list of expectations, you know, and you must meet them, because why? You are the man. You're supposed to meet all those things. For the ladies, what do you think about that statement? Okay, are we culprits of the same? Well, interact with us at NTV Kenya at @Libeme_Winnie. We're taking a short break, but of course when we come back, we'll be looking at your feedback. Remember, it's all about toxic relationships today. You do not want to miss part B of this discussion. Stay with us. To say as far as the question of the day, and Shiro Karago says giving more and receiving less. All right, Julia actually mentioned that. And then someone else says, this is Helen Sarah, says, sasa mtu alinishow na cheat na the relationship was 1 month old. This is toxic. Okay, all right. And then someone else says, this is Robert Anyoba, says, someone thinking she married my phone, hiya, rather than me. Okay. And then someone else says, this is Caroline Okango, says, when we started playing hide and seek with the truth. Oh, wow. Okay. And then someone else says, all right. Okay, so that is what we have so far. So keep tweeting at NTV Kenya at Libembe_Winnie, and of course we'll be checking more of your feedback as far as toxic relationship is concerned. And what made you realize that you were in a toxic relationship? Okay, so and again, if you want to call us live, we'd also love to hear your voice. The panel is here. Of course, they're ready to answer all your questions. So if you are probably going through one and you don't know what to do, then feel free to give us a call. The numbers are down on your screen, and of course we'll take your call and get to hear what you have to say as far as toxic relationships is concerned. So Jeff was telling us about how pesa yako ni yetu, yangu ni yangu. And I think we hear a lot of that as women, you know, where si tunasemaga hivyo, yangu ni yangu, yako ni yetu, because why? God commanded you to provide for the family. So you provide, me I'll help where I can, all right? But before we talk to Jeff, Salome, after the first child, you went back home. And your dad was like, apana, maisha, marriage ni ngumu. You gotta, lazima uvumilie. So you went back to your husband. And of course, there were cases of violence as well. Physical abuse as well. So tell us, when you went back, first of all, how was his reception towards you when you came back?
Okay, when I came back, he was another good person again, and everything was moving on so well. Yeah. He used to drink, he was not drinking, and he told me, you know what, we need another baby.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's time now that I've changed.
We're okay.
We are good to go.
Okay.
And so, like I told you, with love in you, it's very easy to fall into that trap.
It is.
Very easy. Because I said, okay, now that you're not drinking again, and you've become a nice person, it is okay. So I conceived again.
Okay.
And I got my second born, and immediately I got my second born, he went back to drinking. Okay? So my baby is small, he'll tell you, I'm going to work. He will not go.
Okay.
He'll just go and sneak into a pub, drink, and come back before lunch.
Okay.
Here I am, but then I was up country. So, you know, there was fetching water, there was feeding livestock, you have the baby, there were no diapers.
Yeah.
You have to wash your napkins, and to get organized was just hectic.
Yeah.
Very hectic. And at this point, I thought, now it's like I'm tied up. I have this small boy here, I have another girl here, and nothing seems to be working. So I decided, okay, now I'll have to take a step, because the first time I went back to my parents, my dad told me to come back.
Yeah.
Now this time, do I go back with the 2 kids? Oh, no.
Yeah.
I need to persevere now. Now the thing is, if he goes drinking, he comes back, there'll be a lot of physical abuse, and I have everything to do for myself. So I decided, sinianze ka biashara nifanye. So I would wake up very early, before 4, make breakfast for the small boy and him, then go to the market, do some business there, and come back before 9. Okay, to feed to breastfeed the girl,
Babies, yeah.
and to take care of this small boy who's going to school. And it was just bad. But then there was nobody to tell, I'm not
Okay.
on the right track right
Were you
now.
living at his parents' place, or was it your place?
No, we had the parents around.
Okay.
But I was thinking, because he was brought up by a very absent father, it's like there was something going on in his mind. Like my sister said here, some men tend to revenge.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, it was very, very, very hectic. And I wasn't getting along very well with the mother. So I couldn't go and tell her what is happening.
Yeah.
And again, like Julia said, someone will pretend
That they're okay, but really they're not
they're
okay.
not okay.
All right.
And then when he goes, drinks, and comes back, he will misbehave.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow he'll say, I was drunk.
I was drunk,
Please,
I am
I'm
sorry."
sorry. He'll apologize.
And we see that a lot. We see that a lot where, and like Julia said, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They'll tell you, I am so sorry. I don't know what got into me. You know, it's the devil. We start blaming the devil.
The devil
you know?
is blamed
We start
always.
blaming the devil in this case. Salome, let me, not Salome, Kellen. So for you, it was more, like you said, of emotional abuse. And just to help people understand best when you say emotional abuse, because I think this is a place where we struggle a lot to get to understand emotional abuse. What do you mean emotional abuse? Because again, sometimes people get abused, you know, physically, and we see that. But then when it comes to emotional abuse, we disregard that most of the time. So what really happened that made you realize this is emotional abuse, this is not normal?
Well, first and foremost, emotional abuse, like I said, is not physical. It's just words that are thrown at you. You're belittled. You wear something. You're told, what is that you're wearing? And I remember he would even say, I remember him one time telling the kids, I could never touch your mom. And to me, I thought, wow, this is a good guy if he can never touch me. Because at that time, I believed, you know, abuse is physical. And generally, you know, people believe that abuse is physical because even when you see it on the media, you hear about someone who was cut, who was done this, who was killed. So emotional has always been kind of not properly understood. So it's, you know, being put down and being told stuff that really brings you down and breaks you and makes you feel like you're not enough. Your self-confidence goes at that time, and your self-esteem is broken because nothing you do is good. And so you're trying to better yourself so that you can be enough, but realize you'll never be enough, no matter what you do. There's no positive appreciation. You know, in a marriage, people should be able to appreciate one another. It's not just about, you know, the dating season, you walk into marriage and, you know, you forget about also appreciating one another, you know, like, you know, appreciating what you're wearing. And in my case, sometimes even my ex-husband would buy me very nice clothes. And I would, because I was employed as a secretary or a personal assistant then, so I would wear the clothes that he would buy me, expensive ones, and then he would ask me, now what is that you're wearing?
Yeah, and he's the one
and
who
I would
bought them.
wonder, why are you asking me? You're the one who went and bought this, you know? And in my mind, I used to get really confused. And now that works on your mind, slowly by slowly. And you know, this is something that is so dangerous because you don't even know how to express yourself to anybody. How do you even explain what this is that you're going through? And for me, it went on and on and on. And I kept, you know, initially I would keep quiet because remember, I'm being told, mambo ya nyumbani, keep quiet, you know, don't talk about it, and you know, so I used to keep quiet. And now for me, the breaking point for me, when I got to know what I was going through, like I said, is when I started going for counseling. And when I explained to myself what I was going through is when this lady who was taking me through counseling actually told me, you know what you've been going through? It's called emotional abuse. I said, wait a minute. What is emotional abuse in the first place? And then she explained to me, this is what you have been going through, just being put down and made feel like you're good for nothing, never appreciated, and just made to feel like you're worthless. Because yes, I was made to feel worthless. And actions that actually made me feel worthless, even being locked out of the house, and you know, being denied just basic rights, you know. And I realized, that's when I realized this is what it is called, emotional abuse. And I was like, explain to me why somebody would do this to me. Is this person normal for him to do this to me? Why me? You know, because I was asking, why me in the first place? And I remember it really hurt, realizing that, you know, that is what it was. And actually realizing it was abuse, it was very hard for me. I was in denial. We actually call it denial when it comes to dealing with your healing.
And you think the fact that this is the person that you loved the most. This is the person that loved you.
Exactly. Actually, that's why it's so painful, because ideally, when you're getting into a marriage, this man, one of his roles is to protect you, to love you and to protect you. Even the Bible says, love your wife, you know, like the way Christ loved the church. So you're not loved. So instead of being given love, you're being given, you know, you're being bashed and being brought down in self-confidence, and self-esteem is being brought down. So it's very confusing and very painful. And that's why the victim goes through denial in the first place, because you're thinking, no, why would he do this to me? Why do I deserve this? And, you know, asking God questions. Why me, God? What did I do to deserve this? And you know, unless you're able to break down that, you can be quite stuck and lost in this.
Because now you've lost yourself. Trying to find yourself becomes difficult, because somewhat like your mind becomes accustomed to what this person says, that you start believing these things.
Absolutely.
So Jeff, for you, expectations were very, very high. Very, very, very high. And here you are, a young man trying to figure things out and find his way in this thing called life. But there's these expectations that you must meet from this. Could you give us an example?
First of all, I would say this. You know, one of the ways that I will be, the relationship will be toxic, was that you are being given one thing that we call silent treatment. You know, silent treatment is one of the biggest things that, the biggest weapon that is used. You know, so they list that expectation that, you know what, I need, and then they attack, for the men, they attack your ego. You know, your ego is what is used to attack you. So they will probably use words like, you know, other men are doing this, and us here we are just, you know, we are just walking. Other men are driving, and us we are walking.
Oh wow!
You know?
Okay.
When will you be like other men? You know, and it's, you know, to them probably they are raising it more or less like they are motivating you. to be able to work hard so that you
to
also
become like other men. Could you hold on to that? We have a caller on the line and then we'll come back to you. Irene from Nairobi, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you very much for calling us today. Do you have a question or do you want to chime into the conversation?
Nataka kuchangia kidogo.
Okay, go ahead.
Mimi nimeishi in a toxic relationship for 22 years kama huyo mwenzangu.
22 years.
Nilimove kutoka hapo 2 years ago. Now mimi nilifika. The man was always abusive, but he was a silent, not physical. Sasa I used to tell him, you are treating me badly, utafanya watoto pia wanitreat vibaya. Now my son was 22. Now this boy also started to make nigombanisha kabisa, kunipoint finger. And I realized there was a time now nilikuwa discuss sana. And what made me make an about son is now when my last born daughter, she was just 11 years, now she started to console me. Now I realized this was too much for my daughter. She was telling me, Mom, you could let me mad. Now you don't always sleep and not wake up. But I could wake up and make breakfast for the dad. But with him, he was always okay. The problem was mine. Now I realized this was not right for my young girl. She was only 11 years old, and she was now coming in to help the mother. The man made sure that I had no job, I had anything, I didn't have anything down.
Okay.
Now I just said that myself, nikamua kutoka na my last one and my second one. Wacha na huyo kijana wake mkubwa. Now I'm still trying to get out my studies, but I still understand which I should. Though expenses analipa, but now somehow I don't have to counseling. I just had advice from a close friend, but I still am paying with my children.
All right. Thank you very much, Irene, for sharing. And we're so sorry for what you went through, but thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us. And I do not want to lose what she said, Julia, as far as the kids are concerned, you know. The children are there. The husband is like, you know, trying to negotiate and say, listen, don't treat me like this because the kids will see this. But eventually the kids noticed and they started treating her the way the husband was treating her. What do you have to say to that? Because most people assume, kids don't know these things.
Kids, I start identifying things at the age of even 1 year. And even the time when we are not talking, they will know mom and dad are not okay.
Are not okay. Yeah.
And when dad or mom is behaving badly, these kids will know. It's only that they will not be able to process what is happening. They will not be able to identify like this is a toxic person. But they know things are not okay in our home. And you know what, Winnie? Most kids wish that their parents separate instead of being together. They wish. But for the couples, and especially for us women, we stay because of the kids. You see, the way it is. Women say, I stayed, or even men.
Yeah,
even men stay because of the kids.
Yeah.
Because I listened to another man talking, and he was saying, you know, I stayed because when I walk out of this marriage, I will be forced to leave my kids with this woman. And this lady is somebody who is threatening me that if you leave, I'll kill the kids and kill myself. And you know you love your children. Yeah. So as a man, you are forced also to stay. The women the same. When it comes to living, as a lady, you look and you will be like, you have like 3 kids, or 4. And if you are living, you live with this baggage. And you look at this person and you know when you leave, he will not take responsibility. Yeah. So you stay because of the kids. Children. But the kids there at the center are wishing if you people could just separate.
Yeah, there's some kids actually who ask the parents, like, just separate then.
So that they can have peace.
Yeah.
And you see, what you are acting out in most cases, you see kids learn through seeing and watching what you are doing. They will repeat the same things. Even if they don't treat maybe the parent the same way, they will treat their other people,
the peers, the same
or later in life when they get married, they will treat the people the same way they were treated. They saw their parents treat each other. Yeah. And you know what we need? If there is any form of violence, that is bad or worse is emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Because you see physical abuse, that one is good because when you are boxed, you you definitely know, yeah, this is violence. Yeah, you
But
not be like, you know, you slapped me.
Yeah.
That is violence.
Yeah.
You know that is violence. But when somebody is intimidating you slowly by slowly, you look at yourself and you are like, you start blaming yourself. Is it me? Like a man will come and tell you, so umevaa aje? Kwa nini wewe huwezi kaa kama wale wanawake wengine? Or kwa nini wewe huwezi kuwa kama wale wanaume wengine? So you start questioning yourself. Now, is it me?
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? So
or you start blaming yourself.
Yes, you start blaming yourself.
Yeah.
You start wondering, by the way other men are driving, why not me? You start looking at your weaknesses.
Yeah.
So it's a form of abuse that is very confusing. And if you look at the people who stay long in toxic relationships are the people who go through emotional abuse
than physical,
as you compare to the ones who go through physical. Because at the marriage, after 3 months, if you have slapped, you'll know, yeah, this is violence.
This is not good and you need to
This is not good and you leave.
All right, can we take another call and then we'll come back to that? Vincent from Narok. Good morning, Vincent. Vincent, are you still with us? Go ahead.
Kwenye mimi najua kwa relationship unaweza na mwanamke mzuri kwenye mimi nakuangalia, but kuna ile mambo unaona pengine je ni wewe unaweza kaa na mtu kama akona kazi na hawezi kukusaidia, so kama ni nguo zako unaweza jiosea, but ile kitu ningependa kuongea, ukisaka na mwanamke ni haikuwa kwa relationship lakini ikawa hard, even by now I don't have any ina relevant for dealing with play, because unaweza kaa na mtu na upate huyo mtu mwingine anakusumbua, mnasumbuana through text, maybe mtu ametoka job na ile kitu imeleta shida kabisa. Unaona hizi vitanda zenye zililetwa zile za family, unakuta mtu akizaa lala, so mtu analala huko, hata kupatana huyo mtu inakuwa stress, you see. I think unajua kama unakaa kama umeikaa kwa hiyo relationship. So ile kitu najua kama tungekuwa kabisa kuongea ukweli. Ukishaingia kwa mari, unajua kwa mari kitu unaingia kwenye watu wanaingia. So unaweza ingia kwa mari, pengine upate mtu mmoja ako kwa mari na mwingine hayuko kwa mari, you see, something like that. So the best quality, ukikaa na mtu usimdanganye. Umwambie ukweli na umwambie what you are.
Okay.
Because wewe danganya mtu, ama for example nimepatana na dem. Pengine ako na job, ako sawa. So nimdanganye nafanya kazi, you see. Naenda na haya gari, naenda kumsalimia. Na mdanganya this is my vehicle. Na zingine nimeenda nyumbani nimeuza shamba. Huyo mtu mnakaa naye, the end of the day akikuja kukujua. So unapata ile kitu imekufa. Ile kitu ningependa kuambia wa Kenya wale wenye wamesikia hizo imenipamba sana. So wote tukue watu wa kuongea ukweli.
Okay.
Na tujaribu kuacha uongo. Kama ni simu, unajua kitu inachangia mpaka watu wanakaa sana. Kama uko na phone yako kwenye uko hivyo, inafaa ni kweli heshima na simu yako. Na ile kitu mimi najua, ukiamua kabisa, penye nimeona hao watu wenye mko hapo kwa kama mtu akiamua kukaa na mtu, wache tukae kwa ndoa na tuseme sasa tumekaa kwa ndoa, na tuache uongo. Because mimi nilikuwa zaidi, I don't think hiyo soda itaisha. So ile siku nitakuwa sawa, na steto chini nipate ile mwanamke ambaye ananiambia ukweli, because watu wengi ni wakora.
Watu wanadanganya.
Ile siku nitaamua kuoa, lazima niambie mtu everything about my life. So ukikaa na mtu, kama mtu anataka kukuda, hata madam venye uko sawa hivi, unaweza pata mkoa, unapata mtu anakudanganya. Kama ni hata anachosema, kwani iko nini?
Okay, Vincent, asante. Vincent anasema tuambiane ukweli, tusidanganyane, si ndio? All right. And someone actually tweeted, I think one of the tweets that we read and said, honesty, you know, and truthful, and that's the boundary between being honest and just, you know, kudanganyana, all right? So I think this is the same thing that Vincent is talking about. Vincent, thank you very much for calling us today. Really, really appreciate your contribution to the discussion. We're taking a break, but of course, when we come back, we'll look more at your feedback. But we also want to focus on then, how do you move past toxic? All right, how do you find yourself again? Because like Kellen said, and Salome as well as Jeff, at some point you really have to find yourself and learn to find yourself again and move on with your life. So how do you do that? Because this is where so many people have a problem. Some people choose to stay because, again, kids or financial, you know, dependency. So how do you move on from a toxic relationship? So keep tweeting at NTV Kenya at Lubembe_Winnie. Call in live if you can. Would love to hear from you. And then we'll find solutions as to far as dealing with a toxic person or in a toxic relationship. So stay with us. We're taking a short break. See you after. All right, welcome back. Glad you're still with us. The show is Your World, and today it's all about toxic relationships. And of course, my panel today, amazing, giving amazing insights as far as toxic relationships is concerned, what you need to look out for. And if you are in one, I'm pretty sure you're following the conversation, getting to understand, oh, by the way, but this is not normal, all right? So if you still have more questions on the same, feel free to give us a call. The numbers will be down on your screen in just a moment. But if you can, also send us a tweet on NTV Kenya at Lubembe_Winnie. We'll be sampling them starting now. Let's hear what you have to say as far as toxic relationship is concerned. And of course, the question that we asked you is, what made you realize that you were in a toxic relationship? Again, what made you realize that you were in a toxic relationship? Let's get to hear what you say. Rachel Rito says, when going back home the evening after work made me panic. Oh, wow. All right. And then someone else says, there were so many calls at night coming from men and claimed they were her customers making orders. This is from Ata Wagishuru. And then Dolphina Ketch says, when lockdown started, where nyumba haiko inakalika na wakati huo hakuna mahali unaweza enda, every place was COVID-19. All right. And then someone else says, this is David Momanyi, says, when she struggled to take a peek into my phone, only to end up crying without being beaten or cutting an onion. Okay, all right. And then Jerry Nduta says, I think I'm in a toxic one. What should I do? The first step of not being toxic is realizing that you are toxic. All right. Do you want to take that, Kellen? Mm-hmm.
The first step when you realize you're in a toxic relationship is call out for help.
Okay.
Remember when I said that I realized I was in trouble, and the first thing I did is to say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
First accept and look for help. Once you look for help, you find somebody who will be able to take you through the healing journey, which is what I do, and this is why I call myself a transformational coach.
Yeah.
Because now, out of my experience, I take women. Let me say women for now, because I've not had any male client up to now.
All right.
But, well, if they come, I'll take them in.
True.
But I do take my clients through a healing process. And this helps you to just break down and understand in the first place what has happened to you. Because remember, like I said, when I went to FIDA, I didn't know what it was, what had been,
Sure.
and I got to know it. So the first thing I do is to help the client to understand what is this that they have been going through. So first and foremost, you must look for that help. And then be willing to go through the process, because I kid you not, it is a process, it is a journey, it is difficult. And you have to really be patient with yourself and be patient with this person that is taking you through the healing. For me, I have a curriculum that I take my clients through. It takes 6 weeks where we break down everything that you've been going through. And it's an amazing thing, because at the end of the day, a client comes in very broken, crying all the time, and lost. And towards the 6 weeks, they are feeling so much better. Of course, the process doesn't end at 6 weeks. Working with them is open. So it's a very long journey, process, and you have to be very willing to be in touch with me and be able to call me and tell me these are the challenges I'm going through. Why so? Because the moment you leave the abuser, there are so many other things that happen. He will stalk you, he will follow you, he will threaten you, he will do a lot of things, even go to your relatives and tell them stuff, and then they will start telling stuff to your friends, what we call the flying monkeys. And there's so much that goes on that you can't carry that alone. You actually do need help. And you need to be strong enough to be able to fix boundaries and say, hey, this is how far you can come. When I was with you, you could go this far. But from now, this is how far you can go. Why so? Because you discover yourself. Begin to master who you are and begin to understand, I cannot accept this anymore. And be strong enough to face your Goliath, if I may, label them that way, and say, Goliath, you cannot torture me anymore. I am a different person now. You're not going to, do the things that you were doing to me. I am now a different person. It confuses the abuser, by the way.
Oh, yeah, because they're like,
very much. What has happened here? And they can get very aggressive.
Okay.
But as you go through what I take my clients through, you become really strong. It doesn't matter what this Goliath brings along your way, you'll be strong enough to with the war.
Okay. Yes. All right. I love that. The first step is seek for help, because I think that is one of the most difficult things for so many people. Acceptance that this is not right, and I need help, and then taking a step further and seeking help. All right. So for you, Salome, so there's a lot of physical abuse as well. And at some point, you also told me that you also had issues with the mother-in-law as well. What happened? Very briefly. What happened with the mother-in-law? Did you try to probably report and they were like, "Aye, my son"? What exactly happened?
Okay, that is, I would say that is common in those areas. Because women tend to think, the right girl for the son.
For the son.
Yeah. They'll always think there could be another better girl than you. So it's not that she hates me or something, but she'll always find mistakes whenever you do something. You're doing this because you're not the right person for this son of mine. You're doing this because she'll have so many issues to attack you and make you feel uncomfortable. But on the other hand, if the man loves you, he'll always protect you. So for him, he was just good on that. He could protect me, but my issues with him were different.
So from outside, people would think this man really loves this lady, protects her at all costs. But in the house, there was chaos.
Okay, even in the house, he'll play good. Until he takes something. Let him come back home. Things will be different, and he'll do everything. But again, it's something you'd never understand, because you'll find that he's such a nice person. He'll reason with you. He'll do everything with you, and even my parents would say, "Chunga sana, usikue ni uko na makosa." So to my parents, he was just a good son-in-law. Right? So when you're together, I would ask him, "Kwani, why do you pretend?" And he would tell me, "Do I pretend?" "Oh, please, no. You know I love you, don't you?" And I do everything for you, true. But when you drink, you'll come, maybe beat me, abuse me, and insult and do all kinds of things. And tomorrow, you apologize. You say, "I'll not repeat this, babe. I'm sorry. I'll change." And I'll wait for that change.
How long did this go on for?
Okay, it started when I was in the 7th year of marriage. The first 6 years were heaven on earth. Everything was good. But the 7th year, that is when everything started going the wrong way, and I kept my hope that he'll change. the change that came very late, if it ever did. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Whew. Okay, Julie, I'd want you to respond to that. And I know you mentioned this a little bit as far as manipulation is concerned, where they would manipulate you, manipulate the people around you just to think that, no, but he's really, really good. But in real sense, they're just toxic, right? Before you answer that, Jeff, so going through your relationship, all manner of expectations and again, making you feel that you're not man enough, you know, putting you down and all those things. How did that impact you? And how long did that go on for?
That's interesting because, first of all, I think what, of course, it affects you silently, but for me, it really didn't affect me much. And that actually made us kind of fight more, you know, have a pull and push more because the expectation that were being brought on me and comparing me with other men wasn't really working well because I already came into this relationship with a certain perception about women and what they are capable of
doing. Okay.
Because one, I was raised by an aunt after my folks passed on, who was able to do everything that this lady was telling me that I need to do for her.
Oh, wow.
You know, I'd already witnessed that a woman can be able to do those things
on her own.
Okay?
Yeah.
And there I have a woman who is expecting all lots of things from me. So, yes, silently, maybe it would make me sometimes when I sit with myself question and maybe like, is she making sense really? But again, I would be like, no, I've witnessed over 20 years of a woman being able to do these things. Surely it can't be right. It can't make sense. And apart from just my witness, I've already witnessed other ladies who are also doing it. You know? So it can't be that I have to be fixed in a particular box for me to be able to feel that I can fit in. Okay? So in that sense, I think that helped me. But if I was raised in a different type of environment, probably I would have really been affected. You know, I would have really felt like, I mean, it is true that other men are driving car. It is true that other men are having big jobs. It is true that they're doing this, but me, I'm not being able to do them. You know, and society also expects me to do them. Okay? So that really helped me. And I was able to come out of that relationship safe.
Okay.
Well, other things that I felt like also were happening that went on for a long time was the silent, of course, the silent treatment that somebody wants you to do this, and if you don't do it, they keep quiet. They don't voice it. I'm a person who believes in, you know, we need to sit down and iron it out as adults. You know, so I don't like a situation where there's something that is expected of me, but somebody does not communicate it. Instead, they go silent, and you are wondering, what did I do wrong?
Magically expect you
to... it could be in terms of something that expected you to do, or somewhere that you went together, and maybe you even don't know what you did wrong. You know? And then you are coming back home and somebody's just moody. You're wondering, is it biologically the biological time for people to be moody or what? So you are kept on a seesaw. You know, the emotions are quite unstable. I think that is one of the best description about it. The emotions are unstable. And then there's this thing about, you know, what women go through biologically that also is used a lot to abuse men. You know, so that this woman all the times, of course, sometimes it can be unpredictable. The moods can be unpredictable, but you find that this is such as overstretched kind of mood swings, you know, and that is what is being used at, you know what, it is that way. Or if somebody is expecting, you know, that is also another time that also men go through a lot of emotional abuse. That, you know what, when you try to say, this is unreasonable really, you're told, you know, the baby wants this. You know, this is just how I am. or you can't see that I'm expecting so that you be able to do this and do this and do this for me, you know. So you should be able, you need a high level of mental strength to be able to rise above that.
Okay. Yes. Hey, Julia, Okay, right. And you also mentioned earlier on, I think what we're hearing from all this, there's a case of manipulation, you know? They pretend to be really, really good people. And from outside, people will think, you have the best husband, you have the best wife, like what's going on, you know? Hata mwingine atakwambia, we kauntaki basi we mwache mimi nitamchukua. We've had a lot of people say that. So then how do you deal with such a person who's very manipulative, very toxic, and you find yourself in a position where you can't just leave, you can't just wake up and go, right? How then do you cope with that?
Before I answer that one, there's a lady, I don't know whether it was a lady or a man who asked that he has already known that she's toxic.
Yes.
Where does she start? That's a very good thing, that you've already realized you have a problem,
toxic,
that you are sick. I would say this, let that person go for counseling. And when you go for this counseling, it's not something that you are going just to sit down and explain and you're given some options to do. It's a process. You need to go back because you've really come a long way for you to become toxic. So let the person who is taking you through the counseling take you back to where you are coming from as a journey and look at the traumas that you have gone through and ask yourself, when I went through this, how did it make me feel? How did I start judging people based on what I went through? Because that's how you change. You go through something, then that issue makes you start making judgments based on what you have gone through. That's why you hear, like, if a man has gone through issues with women, you'll hear men saying, I can't trust any woman.
Yeah, like
you see,
Vincent.
like you
Vincent
generalize everything.
Yeah.
Because you have gone through it. You fail to understand it is you and your issues. You hear women talking about men like, all men are like this. You fail to understand it is not all. It is you who went through a certain person who was sick, and then you are judging the whole world,
based
putting
on that
the whole world
person
in the same box. So you need to realize yourself and then understand it is what you have gone through, and then ask yourself, how did this change me as a person? Okay. Then on the issue of my sister here, that where this person or my friend here, this girl, today she's like this, the next minute it's like a movie. You need to understand it wherever you are. It's like a scene. You see, they get behind the curtains and they come out as a devil. They have put on
an act.
Yes,
and then they come out.
Then the next minute they get inside the curtains and they come out like like Jesus. So you're left wondering, Allah. You see, you're watching the movie and you're left wondering, what is wrong with this person? Because their emotions change, like you don't even know what happened. You go say hi to somebody, the next minute you look at your friend or your partner and he or she is angry because you have said hi to somebody and you're like, was it wrong to say hi to that? Pastor, who am I supposed to say hi to? Or how am I supposed to behave? You dress on like this and they are angry. They start comparing you with other people. And you know, in the process, you start trying to become like other people. And you know you cannot become like those other people.
You cannot be like other people.
So getting yourself and realizing yourself, you just got to understand that yourself has always been there.
Okay. Can we take a caller and then we'll come back and talk, because, hey, time flies. Okay. Esther from Nakuru, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you very much for calling us today. Do you have a question or do you want to chime into the conversation?
There is quite a lot that I need to say and comment on.
All right, go ahead. Try to be brief.
And, I realize that you guys are talking about toxicity. And for me, I've been in a relationship like 2 years ago that was very toxic. I realized that my partner was, he was an overt narcissist.
An overt?
Overt narcissist.
Oh, narcissist, okay.
Yeah, he was narcissistic, you know, his behavior. So it took a long time for me to get to know what is really going on because I used to get confused. He's someone who would apologize very sincerely when he knows that he has messed up. And he would even cry.
Wow.
He would literally cry because of what he did. And hello?
All right. Okay, go ahead. You were lost for a moment. Go ahead.
Okay. So he used to even cry in my presence just to show that he's very sorry for what he's done. But I realized that kumbe, all these things that I'm going through, it was there was a speaker who said that it was like a movie. For me, it was like a movie.
Yeah.
Because I got stuck with him. And I could not want to hurt him so that he wouldn't cry, but I was a victim in the whole thing. So afterwards, I decided to pull out of the relationship, and I moved on to another.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a year after.
Okay, okay.
But the same things I went through.
You also went through in this other relationship?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I realized, okay, I was reading about narcissism, and I realized that there are two categories that I probably would want to highlight.
Very briefly.
The overt and the covert. This time around, it seems like I'm with a covert because he's very silent about things. And okay, he would hurt you emotionally, but very, very technically. As in, you would not realize that he's hurting you. Like, he's that person who will never say good morning to you. He would sometimes tell you that he's very proud of you, and then other times he would tell you that he's so ashamed of you.
Oh, wow.
He's not someone who will ever compliment you for anything that you do. So I'm in a bit of a fix, and I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do now.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Esther. I think Kellen will answer that in terms of doesn't know what to do. All right. Thank you very much, Esther, for that. Right now we have Faith on the line. Good morning, Faith.
Good morning to you too.
Thank you very much for calling us. Do you have a question? Do you have a comment?
Mine is just a comment and just to strengthen her. Since the situation that I am facing is higher than her situation. First, I have my husband, and we have 4 children with him.
Okay.
And I have to tell you that something happened. She came at my neighbor. She took a daughter of my neighbor.
Okay.
He was given a house there. He has been living with the lady inside the house next to the mother of the lady. And I am next to that because it's just a ghetto, so it's just the next house, the next room. Trying to tell her that she has to stand up with God and know God is faithful in everything, because I never lose up on my husband. They are trying their level best to see whether my husband can marry the lady, but I'm sure if God will happen, he's not going to marry, because God is bigger than everything, and I know I serve a living God.
Oh, wow. All right. Thank you very much.
So tell her that she should strengthen herself. Let me ask for a question. The house where you are living is just a ghetto. Next room is where my husband is sleeping. You can hear the bed springing one the other with the lady. And I'm there with my children who are Form 4 and a class 8 kids, and I have nothing to tell the children, so I just tell God, just give me, let the grown be done.
Oh, wow.
And I have said I never leave my husband. I just told them it's just a time, because I know that God, He has something to do with it. Not anything good that God wants to do for you. The devil stands in front and to attempt to see what you will do. So you have to stand firm and show that you are serving a living God.
All right. Thank you very much.
For God to show that we are serving a living God, we should not give them a chance. So tell her to strengthen herself. Because even my husband is somebody who is working in a national media. Henry Musalia is working in national media. But unless he is making us to pass, I'm telling you, my sister, it's only God who knows. But I know one time I live with him, and he'll come and confess to me.
All right. Thank you very much, Faith. Appreciate it for sharing. Okay. Who wants to respond to that, to Faith? But can we just first of all answer Esther's? Because currently she is dating one who's a narcissist. What do you have to say to her? And I can see your time is very much spent, so
yes, I'll try to be very quick about it. I had her talk about the fact that she knows about the narcissist. Actually, what we are discussing, the toxic person, generally is the narcissist. what this condition is called, or disorder is called, is narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah.
That's why you hear we are saying when he's out there, he's different. He comes here home, he's like my sister says here, he would be very nice at some point, then go back and drink. There's a reason he was doing that. There's the reason for that behavior.
Yeah.
So actually the toxic person generally is a narcissistic person. A narcissistic character is a very difficult character to deal with, because remember, they're dealing with their own trauma, and that's where they're hurting you, the way they're hurting you. This lady from Nakuru talked about her reading about the narcissist and realizing that she had been married to an overt. They actually, at least the three categories I know, there's overt, the covert, and the malignant. And they're all very complicated characters. So this lady, the other thing I would want her to know is she should have taken her time to heal. And that's what I tell the ladies that I take through the healing process, that please do not be in a rush to go into another relationship. You need to deal with this other, unpack this other pain that you have gone through, so that you are a whole person and you can be able to attract a whole person to yourself. And then she says now she's in another relationship that is also, you know, narcissistic. Guess what? When you come from an abusive relationship, if you don't unpack that pain, you will attract another abuser to yourself. I would also be interested to know about a little bit about her background, because again, we attract abusive people to ourselves because of stuff that has happened to us, also things that we have seen around ourselves. So you tend to attract another abuser. So what I tell this lady, I wish she could actually get in touch with me so I can be able to help her to unpack that, because there is trauma that she did not deal with, and now she got into another mess. And then she's already in another generally one. Tell you know, people out there, when you come from an abusive relationship or a toxic relationship, please don't be in a hurry to get into another one. You need to first and foremost break down that trauma that you experience from this other one, so that you can become a whole and healed person and be able to attract a whole person to yourself. You cannot be able to attract wholeness if you're hurting yourself. And or rather, you cannot be able to reach out to other people when you're already broken. You need to deal with your brokenness so that you can be able now to attract someone who's whole.
Okay, all right. Faith's case is a lot. Julia, do you want to take that?
Can I add on to that?
Yeah, very briefly, because we only have like, what, 5 more minutes to go.
Like, we also need to differentiate between people talking about their toxic partners and they're the ones who are toxic. Okay? Because somebody will put you through issues and then they start complaining that you are toxic. Because you know, sometimes you even listen to people talk. Like as counselors, we are trained to listen to people. And when people are talking, they can be talking, complaining about the other person, but you are able to tell that is the toxic person. And they are complaining about the other person. So it's always good. You who is there and you are thinking that you are married to a toxic person, also listen to yourself and also ask yourself, are you making this person do the things that they are doing? Because you see, they say, if somebody keeps on telling you that you are unfaithful, at some point you end up asking yourself, okay, you know that I am unfaithful and you have not done anything, let me do it. Because you have not even left. You keep on saying, so wacha nifanye.
So that you can reason.
So we can have very many people talking about this issue and saying they've been married to toxic people and they are the ones who are toxic.
Who are toxic themselves. Thanks, Julia. And then Salome, let's just finish up with your story, because we gotta finish this, right? So mother-in-law had trouble with mother-in-law, and then your husband tried to protect you from the mother-in-law, but still had your own issues. So at what point did you just heal? Like, when did it stop? You know, and did you probably go through steps of healing, you know, to just make you who you are today?
Okay, I wouldn't say I healed, like, completely. Because what I was going through would repeat itself almost always. And I'm this kind of person who will make very tough decisions. So I said to myself, now that I brought myself here, and my dad told me, vumilia, wende ulijitafutia, shida ni yako hiyo, ikizidi utakuja nyumbani, but please don't come when everything has not messed up. So I was like waiting for the time everything will mess up. That is when I'll go back. Unfortunately, my mother was a pillar to me. And I lost her.
I'm sorry.
So I was like, now how do
Who
I go
else do you
about
turn
this?
to?
Who else do I turn to? What do I do? And by the time I lost my mother, I had decided to leave.
Okay.
And I decided I will leave and will not tell my people. I'll just go into hiding. So when I decided to leave, because, okay, there was a point, he came and told me, now I want to change, like, completely. Because of my age, we're getting older, children are growing, we need to shape up for their future and everything. He would reason very well. So he stopped drinking. And he told me, now, you know what? I want us to get at that child.
Oh, wow.
And he stopped kabisa.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, now everything has
It's
changed.
okay.
This is the change I was looking for. Little did I know that was to be the worst now. Because eventually I conceived and I got my third born.
Grandchild, yeah.
After getting my third born, we had some like 8-9 months. Very well, everything was good, we were at peace. And then he went back to drinking again. So I asked him, what have you decided
What
again?
changed?
Why this kind of dramatic change? Now, we had started planning things and organizing ourselves very well. So, and I had already lost my mother. So, I thought now that things have changed, I think I'll live for good. Yeah. I will live for good. But again, here the kids are telling me, Mommy, you know what? Tukitoka hapa si hatuwezi ita mtu dati.
Wow.
That was my son.
Yeah.
My daughter loved the grandmother and the dad so much. But I decided either way, I'll go. So I left and went into hiding. I went to a very far place in Loitoktok. And he looked for me everywhere. He couldn't find me. He followed my people, my aunts, all my relatives, and he couldn't find me kabisa. So finally, he came to my sister, my elder sister, and told her, please tell me where my wife is. If you don't, I'm not living here. I'll stay here until you tell me. If she died, I'll go look for her body and bury her. Because on that, I wouldn't love another woman. So please, if you care about me, tell me where she is.
Yeah.
And my sister was like, hi, you know, he may decide to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Because he was so serious about that. And my sister told him, please try look for her at like Tok. That is the only place you have not visited.
Yeah.
If you find her,
Well,
sawa.
then
If you don't, then I don't know where she could be.
Did he come
He did.
and found you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when he found me, he told me, now you know what? I want us to go back home.
All right.
Give me the last chance.
Okay.
I will change. And it's now 19 years. Okay? So I asked him, are you sure you're going to change? I think you're a chameleon, for lack of a better word.
Okay. All right. Let's fast forward because we have like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He changed.
You've told me you'll change. You've kept telling me you're changing until now. And now my son is almost getting into high school.
Yeah.
Please. He told me, okay, forgive me for the last time. Let's go back home and you'll know I've changed. So I told him, okay, you just go, I'll come later.
Yeah.
Akakatalia hapo. He said, no, I'm not going.
I'm not leaving.
To a point, he went to my sister's pastor and told him, your member is withholding my wife. And she has her husband. You also have your wife.
Yeah.
So please tell her to release my wife.
Okay.
I want to go back home with her.
Right.
And so my sister told him, please, I'm not the parent. She has her parents.
Okay.
The dad is at home. Please go back home. Tell dad to call her. I'll release her.
I'll release her.
You go,
Okay.
please.
All right. Literally 30 seconds to end the show. And I need Jeff to also conclude this. So first for one, you are here. Did he change? Did he not? And
okay, yeah, he changed. The time I came back,
okay,
he changed.
Yeah.
And as the change progressed, that is when I lost him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So when I lost him, it was another journey because I was already hurt.
Yeah.
And I've started healing,
and then
he leaves.
I'm sorry.
I'm just left, and so
yeah.
I had this healing journey from what I had gone through, and then the death, which was very traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
And Jeff, very briefly, you said you were not affected that much because of what you knew, but here you are today, started, a Present Fatherhood Foundation. What would you tell, I think, just advice to all the men who are probably who are in a toxic relationship, very briefly, in like 20 seconds?
Thank you. I'll try. I think recently we started practicing, we graduated as a social psychologist, and I've been seeing a number of clients around my age. And one thing that they're saying is that after letting out what their past have been and what they went through, that is exactly what is being used against them in a relationship. So my advice would be that if you're going into a relationship with anyone, first of all, really examine this person. What are their true intentions? After that, be able to look within that. Are you comfortable with letting your past to that person? First of all, be comfortable with yourself and your baggage and what you have, so that you prevent somebody from using it against you. Okay. That will be my advice.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the things that so many people actually fear, that is, if I share my problem, someone will use it against me. But I like that. Be comfortable with yourself. All right. But thank you very much, Jeff. I know this is a conversation that we could have for like 5 hours, but we have to stop here. So Jeff Ndindi, founder, Present Fatherhood; Julia Wanjuru, family therapist; Salome Nyagude, businesswoman; and Kellen Jagi, transformational coach. Thank you very much to all of you for coming by today. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you for staying with us until the end of the show, and for those who called in as well, thank you very much, and those who tweeted as well, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow for another topic, but for now it is goodbye. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Have yourselves a lovely day ahead and stay safe. See you tomorrow.